there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Paris. And today we are going to answer a question that a lot of fellow travelers have. How do I get from the Charles de Gaulle airport into Paris? What are my options? How long is it going to take? What's best for me? Well, here's the thing is there are a lot of options that are available to you as a traveler to get in from CDG, Charles de Gaulle, into Paris. And whichever one you're going to do, the time is going to vary depending where you're staying in the city, of course, because Paris is a very large city. So be prepared for a time gap in some of these places, okay? But I think the most popular option that people have to come in from CDG into Paris is the RER-B, okay? The RER is the city train line, and it's going to be line B that goes out to Charles de Gaulle. What's cool is you can take it in. There's actually a stop here right by Notre Dame, so you could come in and see a sight, and then head back to the airport if you have a long layover, right? So that's a big one. Now, the RER trains run about every 10 minutes, and it takes about a half hour to get from CDG into Paris, okay? So you have that. So that's one option. It's a very popular option, okay? But since it's a train line, it only goes in certain spots. So you're gonna have to, take a metro or a bus or something from your station to get to where you're staying. So that's one thing, okay? Now, there also are buses that go from CDG, and there's options which buses to take. There's a number of them there that'll go to different points throughout the city. Usually, if you wanna think about the buses that come into town, think anywhere from 20 minutes when there's absolutely nobody there and you're relatively close to 45 minutes to an hour, depending when that bus is. And usually the bus is a pretty cheap option that a lot of people use, okay? Then the next thing you can use is there's actually a train station, not just RER, but an actual train station at Charles de Gaulle. And some of the trains from there will take you to other parts of France, so you could fly in to Charles de Gaulle and then take a train there to different parts of France. Now, for those of you that don't know, it depends where you're going in France, which train station you use from Paris, okay? So don't think that every train leaving Paris goes through that station. Now, if you want to have something more direct and you don't want to deal with public transportation, there are taxi lines that will take you, and there's set fees coming in depending on what side of the river you're on. So you can just go get a taxi, they'll take you there. Also, there are ride shares. You can get your ride share, like your Ubers, you can get that from the airport into town. The drive, depending again where you're going to go in Paris and what time of the day, because rush hour will make things a lot worse. It can be anywhere from 25-30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour, depending where you're going to go and how traffic is. But that is an option. I know when we have late night flights or early morning flights, we also use this option. That is hire a private driver. If you talk to your hotel or a concierge service, they will set up drivers for you, which are different than Uber or taxis, okay? But you can have it set up so they can pick you up at the airport. So when you walk out after the long wait to get your passport stamped and get your bags, someone will be there with Walters on their sign to pick you up and drive you to your location, so you can have that. And there's a number of services that do that. But also, I think that's actually better, again, for the early morning or late night flights. If you got to go out to Charles de Gaulle, think about that as an option, okay? So I hope this helps you understand some of the options you do have, and it really depends on how much luggage you have, how many people you have, because if you've got a lot of luggage, I usually don't recommend taking the RER because it's not like they have a ton of space for your luggage, and it's also a local train, so people might be going to work on that, so it can get very busy during rush hour time. So something to take into consideration if you're coming in from Charles de Gaulle. But honestly, there's so many options and different price options on there for you that no matter if you're coming for a budget trip or a fancy honeymoon trip, you have plenty of options to get you here. So, sounds like our RER is showing up here. So, I want to say thank you for watching. If you want to learn more about Paris, we've got the shocks of Paris, the don'ts of Paris, all kinds of stuff to get you ready to enjoy this beautiful city. Bye from Paris.